Hey, my name is Shawnshawn. I sell art on shawnshawn.co, and today we're going to react to art of John Magne Lisondra. So just looking at his webpage or his YouTube page, he has a nice kind of intro on the top. It has some samples of his work with him in it. He has some social media links, and so he has a nice title. Sorry guys, it's a little bit late. Art of John Magnus. So I think that's a good way to name the channel. He has one of his latest tutorials as his intro. His first one are oil and acrylic time lapses, so that's okay. Popular uploads right below that, good. Oil painting tutorials right below that. Step-by-step acrylic painting, so that's good. How to start acrylic painting. Basic tree painting acrylics. Winter painting tutorials. Forest painting using acrylic. Portrait painting lessons. And then he has a list of the playlist, which is good. I don't have the playlist at the bottom, but I think that's a good start. So let's get to the first video. All right, this first video is called Acrylic Landscape Painting in Time Lapse, The River's Water Reflection, J.M. Lisondra. So he has a very long title, but probably good for SEO from a Google standpoint. So here's a nice intro. Subscribe to me. His social media there. His website below, Patreon below. I think I'd only mention the website, but it's personal choice. Some people like to watch on social media. So I think what I'd add here is add voiceover, like actually explain what you're doing. I don't do that in mine. I do it kind of a similar style, so I also don't do that. I don't follow my own advice, but I think, you know, watching a video, it's kind of nice to know what the artist is thinking as they paint. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. Ooh, the music's cooler here. So very punchy colors, I think. I don't know if the background is really that color. It's really kind of popping blue versus like kind of a chill blue. But it's a painting, so you kind of do what you want, right? It has this nice reflection of the sky perfectly in the water, so that's a still water, which is a really cool effect. Let's skip ahead a little bit. What happens here? So he's double layering. He started with the blue, now he's going to go with the greens. So he's adding that green to kind of double layer in. I assume he might do even more. The trees are very nice, very realistic. The technique's really nice, I think. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So it looks like on the trees he added a yellow on top of the green, so he's done probably 3 layers of green and blue there. Which the blue is really nice in the background because it gives it that really dark shadow feel. I don't know if you'd use more of a blue-green versus that solid blue, but it works. It's got some really nice highlights coming in here with the yellow. It's really going to make that stand out. And the shadows in the water are super dark in here. Oh my god, I got this stupid ad. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. So he hasn't worked in there. Oh my god, look at these terrible ads. So his shadows in the water are just super dark. I don't know if they'd be really that dark, but it looks really cool. It makes it really stand out. So, let's get to the very final here. So he adds these. So he's adding these little streaks of green across the water to make it stand out on the water. So you know there's water break there, so that's really smart. You just need a little bit to kind of make that break in the water. I don't know if that light shadow's right in the back corner there, but it's fine. It's a painting, right? You can be a little creative. I think the light would only be in the middle of that water and would follow kind of how that shadow is. Those dark parts would not, where it's dark from the trees, those light green marks wouldn't be there. All right, let's go to the next one. Sorry guys, all right, this one's called Self-Portrait in Oil Painting Time-Lapse, Magne Lisondra, still unfinished. So he has that nice SEO graph for Google, so that'll be traced really easy. He started painting, he's grid lined it out, which is a very traditional technique. So the one thing I'd say, he probably should add a personal intro, like a headshot like this, talk to the camera really briefly when he starts, and then jump into it. I think that's a stronger way to do the video because you don't really get a feel for who he is. You do now because he's doing a portrait, but in 80-90% of his paintings is landscape, so if he doesn't show his face, you do never really know. You don't associate the art with the face, and that's important for branding from that side of the spec when you go to sell the art. So he's using really harsh shadows there, but we'll see where this goes. So far the color, not crazy about the color at all. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. Colors look crazy so far, but we'll see what it looks like later. Okay, now it's looking better. Kind of the angle seems off in this, I don't know why, but maybe the photo he used isn't correct. I don't know, it seems like off an angle. It doesn't seem like the correct proportions in the face. There's something slightly off there. I think I would use a scale divider to fix this, make sure everything's right. It does appear to be slightly off somehow, I don't know why. But I will say doing a face is way harder than a landscape. A landscape's way more forgiving. You can move a tree, you can move a brush, you can move the mountain. It really doesn't matter because unless people are copying it line by line, literally, it doesn't matter for a landscape. But for a face, it's very crucial. Everything lines up. You get the shading. The color looks much better now. But again, the angles of the face look a little strange or off. Skip ahead a little bit. The music's pretty loud. It's a little bit too annoying, so you don't want to have the music kind of pop out that way. You can have cool music, but this is just kind of overpowering, I think. All right, skip ahead a little bit. So this I wouldn't paint at all the brushes in the background. It just doesn't look cool. If he's painting and you're showing yourself painting with a paintbrush, it makes sense. But if you show him sitting down and then you have paintbrushes next to you, it's just kind of like, okay, he was a painter. I get that. I guess from 100 years ago, maybe that makes sense because people won't know who this is and be like, oh, he's probably a painter, right? So I guess it's important from 100 years from now, but I don't know. I wouldn't paint the brushes in there. Skip ahead a little bit. See, it's a real strange pattern in the shirt. I don't know if I use that type of shirt for doing a portrait. It's kind of distracting, I think. Might be better to use a solid color. Let's skip ahead a little bit. He has done a really good job with following the patterns of the shirt. It's a very complex shirt that he's following. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was okay to have like a multicolored pattern shirt like this. It does look pretty cool now. It's kind of goofy. It has like these little tabs from the 80s or something, right? But that's probably in style where he lives, right? It's just like, that's in the 80s for, you know, the US, so it's kind of funny. So I'd say it's pretty realistic. At first it looked a little off, but I think maybe he's filled in those colors and it looks a little bit more realistic now. So yeah, it's interesting too because it shows him with another portrait here. So it's like he's painting himself twice or something with the brushes behind him. You wouldn't have the brushes behind you, so it's a little bit strange the way he set up the composition there. I would have the brushes in the foreground where he's reaching across as a painter to go to the painting. Like the painting's here, he should be painting here, so the brushes should be right up here like this. He has the brushes behind him. Like that doesn't make natural. You go like pull a brush and paint this way and pull a brush. This is like unnatural. So the paintbrushes should be foreground sticking up like this, and then he's painting. That makes sense, you know. So, but live and learn, you know. I think he just wanted to get kind of more. He didn't want to have those brushes cut him off at the shoulder length or something like that. But that would be more a realistic setup, I think. But a very good realism. Let's skip ahead to the next one. This is called Basic Color Mixing in Acrylic Using 5 Limited Colors by Magne Lisondra. So again, great SEO title, I think. You could easily find that. People actually probably typed it in there up to, you know, basic color mixing acrylic. That's definitely in there. And limited colors. So it's nice. He kind of starts off with the colors. You got medium yellow, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, lamp. It's weird because he's saying 5 colors, but then there's 3 versions of red, 3 versions of blue, 3 versions of yellow. And phthalo and ultramarine blue, I think, are pretty distinct. And primary blue is probably in between. It's probably closer to ultramarine blue. Brilliant red, cadmium red, telluride red. I've only used cadmium red, but again, you're kind of mixing up the colors. I like a quin red myself and a cad red, but I would use those distinctly. Here you have medium yellow, Hansa yellow, primary yellow. I would just put yellow. I think I would use a cad yellow actually, because I've had a primary yellow and I never ever use it. I just use the cad yellow. I just barely use that other one. Titanium white, sure, that's solid. Let's go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Magne Lisondra, and today I will be teaching you on how to mix the colors. So as usual guys, I will be using limited colors in my palette.
So one thing I'll notice, he's doing a voiceover this time, which is really cool. He hasn't introduced himself with a face, so he probably should have done a headshot. That would have been more effective. And also there's this grainy quality to the sound. He probably has like rain in the background or something. You'd never want to record the sound that way. Like you'll want to make sure all your fans are off. You have like some blankets or something to deaden the sound around you. Because sound is the most crucial. It's way more important than the visuals actually, if you believe that. For painting, you probably do want a really great visual. But for example, the background here is all blurry because it's really dark in the room and it just has that color reflecting off of it. So that's less important, but the sound quality has to be spectacular, right? So let's keep going.
And as I always telling you guys, if you want to learn how to paint, you should know how to mix the colors. So that's why I'm always using the most basic colors on my palette, like the titanium white, the lamp black, the phthalo blue, the brilliant red, and the medium yellow. So these are for me guys the most basic colors, and you can get mostly all the colors on other shades or other values or whatever, secondary or primary.
So again, I would have done the video just mentioned the 5 colors and not mention the varieties of those colors, because that's just confusing, I think, to start the video that way.
Your tertiary colors you can get. Okay, so
Skip ahead a little bit.
of course I have the phthalo blue. You can also use other blue guys like ultramarine or I don't know the other shades of blue. I only know the ultramarine, primary blue. Yeah, you can also use primary blue, ultramarine, and the phthalo blue. Of course, this one. So we're gonna use this blue guys here.
So it's blue, so it's always watery. I don't know why the blues is so damn watery. It's so annoying when you paint. All the other colors are going to be much more body to them, but
so
it is what it is.
The green guys, green color. But I do not like this green guys when I put it directly in my canvas. It's too strong or too sharp. I don't know what the term gonna. So sometimes
It's like Play-Doh green.
I added the shade of a little amount of red. Only little amount guys. Do not put too much. It will become brown. So just little amount. Yeah, that's the color I like. So it's a little like something darker green guys, but I like the shade.
I'll skip ahead a little bit.
Amount of yellow to make it lighter. So this is it. If you want to add, if I want to add more highlights on the tree leaves, then more yellow. So I just play the colors, guys, between this.
Okay, that's pretty clear. I think let's start with the reds.
So the one that I put on my skin tones, and when I add some highlights, so I'll add more white in it to make it lighter.
See, that looks like dirt to me. It doesn't look like
With the
skin
colors
cones.
I put or I apply on the skin tones, guys, when I paint portraits. And when I want it to be more yellowish, I just add more yellow in it. Okay,
It's probably good for Asian
more
skin,
yellow.
maybe African American skin, but it's definitely not close to a European style skin, which would be more pink version. But it would have some of that brown in there as well, so.
Okay, just add more yellow in it to make it yellowish, and add white to add more to add highlights or more highlights. These just the colors I play. I play, guys, when
Let's go ahead a little bit.
when I want to make it lighter, so just add more white in it. Okay, that's it. So I think add highlights. Just add white in it. Make it lighter.
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Depending on the clouds, if the cloud is something like cumulus nimbus or stratonimbus, or what do you call this, cirrostratus clouds, so that should add a little grayish on it, on the base or on the background on it, or on the undercoats.
They're okay for clouds. I think it's very simple cloud versions. Let's go ahead.
I'm going to add a little white in it to make it vague, and more yellow, and of course red, and more yellow, guys, depending on the sunrise,
Keep going ahead.
or mix for violet. So of course I'm gonna use
Let's go ahead a little bit.
violet objects, and also on the red violet just add white, and of course red. And remember, guys, when you use this brush on the other color, on this color, then I'm gonna mix for other color, so you need to clean this brush, guys, with water, so that it's.
I think it's pretty clear. Let's go ahead.
And next time, guys, I'm going to teach you on how to use your brushes.
So I think that particular variant about color mixing, it was kind of good. I mean, it shows how to mix the color, but it doesn't show how you use them together. I think that a video would be way more effective if you mix the purple, kind of show, like there's a whole process of how you mix it purple, how you mix it green, how you mix it yellow, but then apply it on the canvas and you can see how you'd use like a purple with a green, or a purple with a pink, or purple with a red, and kind of see how those colors pop back and forth, because that's the next stage is after you mix those beautiful colors, how do you combine them and put them next to each other and have that really color pop? That's one of the key traits of Impressionism, so that would have been a really great add to that video. Maybe he has a second follow-up video to that, but that's what I would encourage. And yeah, I think the first two videos were really strong. They had just music and the sound was clean. He doesn't add any talking to it. I would do voiceover at the beginning at least, or even have a talk in the beginning and at the end, and then maybe add voiceover in the middle maybe. I think it's much stronger with the voiceover. You kind of understand and see what's going on. But he is a very popular channel, so he's not doing it terribly, right? And yeah, he has quite a variety. I mean, he's definitely a very, very good painter. You can see from the quality of his paintings. Some of them are very bright in the colors. Like I would consider them a little bit too bright. Like this grassy green over here is very, with the red tree is just like insanely bright. You might have the grass that way, but it just seems like it's unrealistic. Like maybe he's painting from a photo and he's never been to that area, so he's never really seen the grass that way. Because I don't think I've ever seen a grass on a hilltop like that. I think he just made up the grass there, which is fine, but it just doesn't look realistic. So it's always a danger if you paint stuff you've never seen before with your eye, you don't really know. You can always tell us when people are painting from the photo and then they're painting the sea and they haven't really been close to the sea for a long time. It just, their sea colors are way off because they don't, if you walk next to the sea every day, you'll see all the subtleties of the color. Like in the Caribbean, it can be like very turquoise and green almost and very light blue. And then you go to the Atlantic and it's really dark blue, almost no greens, and, you know, gray black. And you're like, what is this, you know? So you can have a lot of variety in the type of oceans you paint. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. There's a little bit of, yeah, just with the grass, I don't think it's exactly realistic. The colors maybe slightly off. Again, it's probably fairly sellable. I don't think you're gonna have clients saying, I'm not gonna buy that. That's still very sellable. But I think he has a lot to show. But some of those colors are a little bit unrealistic. They're not careful color studies, I would say, of the original painting. But, you know, people like this style of work. So, I mean, if people like to buy it, then, well, who cares, right? What another artist thinks. It's really if you could sell the painting, right? So that's the main thing I would say. And the fact that he has a lot of subscribers, 659,000, I mean, that's pretty good, hands off for that. So I think it's a kind of a channel if you're learning how to paint from the beginning. I think it'd be good. If you want to get to the really subtleties of really advanced realism, where you get like this really subtle color blending, I don't think this channel has it per se. It's very close, but then you want to go to the next level, there's certain other painters, right? They're more hyper realistic. The color's a little bit more realistically mixed, like Calm Down in the background. Some of these colors pop a little bit too much, and it might be just, if he's using basic color, that's fine, but maybe it's just not enough color range to get the right tonality in some of those colors. But again, it's pretty, I mean, for most people, it's a really great painting, so I don't know how much you can say about that. Anyway, hope you guys like it. Give me a thumbs up. If you like to subscribe, you can subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next artist reaction video.